909. All 909.
Every time I come to speak, the rain comes. Blessings. I want to just say something. Each person is placed on this earth for a purpose.
Yes.
What is yours? And I saw something on Facebook today, which I'm going to ask Ben to read. He doesn't have to say who wrote it. I just want him to read it.
As I grew up from a little boy going to Reuben's house, I have witnessed how he bent backwards to assist some people. To a great extent, some of which I did not understand until I became a grown man. I have lived to see some of these people turn on him, even blaming him for their personal failure and personal mismanagement. I have lived to see him still assisting and associating and helping these said people. Seeing such, it's really upset me. I wonder why he don't leave them and let them go to HELL. Being bothered so much, I had to confront him to find out if he is a jack ASS. But his response to me was interesting. He said, "Boss, I don't have no room in my heart for no enemy, no malice. If they have a problem, it's between them and their God to work out, not me." Then the person continued, "So if he good, me good too. If he good, me good too."
Now, thanks for that endorsement, my other son. That was written by another son of mine. All of us have gifts, and mine is simple. And my gifts are mainly considered 3 different gifts. A quick mind, the ability to speak, good health, and faith in God. I do not take these gifts for granted. They are from God to be used for the good of the people. I am also of the view that the volcano happened for a good reason. The team I led in 1991 had redeveloped Montserrat from disaster. God said, "You believe you did it on your own. Let me show you who in control." Montserrat was brought to a lower level than after Hugo by the volcano. All of the leaders were tried and tested. They apparently could not manage. And it seemed as God said, bring Reuben and his team back to rebuild and restore Montserrat. I believe that God is pleased with our stewardship thus far. That's why we never had, in my view, and this is my faith, major problems with our funding agents as the other governments ahead of us. Thanks be to God, great things he has done. When people talk that this government is only about infrastructure and infrastructure development, they do not understand how to build a country. You must have infrastructure development for you to have people development. Are you going to live in trees? Have we forgotten that Plymouth and the surroundings, including Longgrung, were destroyed? Our roads have gone into a mess. Our people were fearful in terms of their future. We must, therefore, look at rebuilding the basic infrastructure of Montserrat, or this country will die. But you hear everybody talking about, oh, when I was such and such in government, I negotiated with DFID. When I was such and such in government, I was part of the team to negotiate with EU. I used to have discussions with them. And that goes on and on and on. But let me tell you something. Running a government cannot be based on negotiations with DFID and the European Union and the others. That is not what government is about. The people who this government has to negotiate the greatest with are the civil servants. If your senior civil servants say to you, this is not going to happen, it will not happen. No matter how much money you negotiate with David. So when I say to civil servants, I am dissatisfied with the level of your performance, I am not insulting them. I am simply saying, you must, and all of us, must continue to work together if we want to develop Montserrat. Yeah. That is what development is about. It must be led by our people. Our senior civil servants have to lead this development, or this country goes down the road and goes down very fast. You saw it with previous administrations, where all of them said our hands are tied. Our government, your government, our hands will never be tied, because we will fight. We will fight, and we will continue to fight for the development of this country and the people of Meade Montserrat their home. Why do you need to vote for all 9? Let us look, for example, at the ministry that Colin Riley currently holds. Ministry of Education, Health, Community Service, Sport, Youth, Gender Affairs, and others. It is difficult for one man to do that by himself. And therefore we expect parliamentary secretaries or backbenchers to come in and assist in the areas where they have the skills. That is why you need more than 5. That is why you need all 9. Charles Cronin at Public Works with ICT and all of the other things he has to do, including aviation. He has to have some additional help and additional support. That is why you have to vote all 9. When you're looking at the hospital project, we need to have somebody there to help Colin to work through the intricacies of that project. Easton Taylor Farrell, who has to deal with housing and has to deal with rebuilding of houses, agriculture, ecumenical affairs, land development, and the range of things. He needs help, and he can do more. And when I heard a farmer who we have helped, being paid by PDM to go on radio to say, we're glad for the road, but build the road someplace else because we can't get out our potatoes. What does he want us to do? Build the road in the sky? They want the road, but they don't want the road. But we have made the decision that road is being built. The farmers in that area, the residents in that area, up in the hill, will have a good motorable road before the end of September. Very good project, very good process and progress by all of the contractors, and they have done excellent work. They talk about youth development and we haven't done anything for the youth. How many of you have been up to the football field on any evening? If you go up to the football field on any evening, you will see at least 100 young people every evening playing football, and their parents don't have to worry about them. And I hope Vincent forgive me for this one. I think he told me, he didn't want me to tell you, but I have to still tell you. As he said to me, can you imagine that I have all of these children up here, and I have to have security around the fences for the people who nominated, what you call him, the letter writer man, the letter writer Don, the person who nominated him, and cronies like her. You have to wonder whether or not the security can keep them from selling drugs to those young people who are at the football field. Is that what you want in this country? If the lead people in that grouping are drug dealers, unrepentant drug dealers, you will expect that if the letter writer Don gets into government, the first one who gets arrested, he will call the commissioner and say, you can't lock up that person. Is that what you want in government? No. Is that what the police want? No. So don't tell me that the police can say, we're not voting. The police have to vote to make sure that your job is made easier by not having those people in government. When Jeremy came in and he started the hype program, of course we must have an argument. As Jeremy say always, give me a headache. But once he gets his teeth into something, he like a pit bull, he not letting it go. Not letting it go. He boasts into. And if he can't get you to me, he get the other colleagues and say, let me gang up on him, because sometimes he had to turn back. But when he did the hype program, how many young people have been trained on that hype program? 200 plus. And yet they're saying Jeremy did nothing for the young people. What we are now doing in terms of that experiment is that the next term, next month, what we're going to do, some of them want to go into agriculture. Instead of giving them the money monthly, we will give them the money upfront for them to buy the equipment to go into agriculture, and we will work along with them to develop agriculture, showing that they can in fact contribute to the development of Montserrat. Young employed in Montserrat. I looked on Facebook the other night, as I sometimes go through Facebook, and I saw a young man's page that had a refrigerator full of chicken that he harvested from his own backyard. Pigs on his farm. And this is a full-time civil servant aided by Easton Taylor Farrell, for him to say, we can produce in this country if we really want to do it. We can produce. And there are many others with the Hoop House program, many who had the chicken program, but the lazy ones allowed that project to fail them, and then they go and stand up on the street corner and say, share the wealth. I want you to ask a question. Ask Claude Hogan about the honey project from Waterloo that sat on his desk for over a year, and we only found it after he left office, after the time had gone. As a young man in Drummonds put on his Facebook page, what Claude Hogan has done to me is tantamount what Judas did to Jesus. I am not saying I'm any Jesus, but it is a similar thing that he did as Judas did to Jesus. And as a young man in Drummond said on his Facebook page, you want me to vote for somebody like Claude Hogan so that he'd now go and do like Jesus after he gave up Jesus? So we said to Claude, go and do as Judas did. And what did Judas do? You can't vote for a man who got to die himself after. We have spoken. When you listened to Don last night, every other word he's saying, and Dr. Sammy can count them out for you. We will talk to Diffit. We will talk to Diffit. We will talk to Diffit. You want toilet paper? We will talk to Diffit. You want to go to the toilet? We will talk to Diffit. Is this who you want to lead this country? Somebody who can only say, let Diffit run Montserrat? So what we have done, we have taken teams to Dubai, and we have foreign direct investment coming to Montserrat from Dubai. The people have been here. That does not require anything from Diffit. We have done that ourselves. Tomorrow morning, another team will be leaving Montserrat, an embassy team, going to China to look at investments coming out of China. That is development, and that is work for the people. This is not a time to take a chance to put people in place who do not even understand how government works, nor the experience to lead at a higher level.
Leadership matters.
When you look at somebody who has been in the Legislative Assembly for 5 years, and even up to the day of the last sitting, I had to remind him, my friend, try and learn the rules of engagement. 5 years. and he still does not understand how the Legislative Assembly works. Is this the person you want to lead your government? If he can't understand Legislative Assembly, can he understand how to run government? We need to have good representation. The rain and I will go together. Sharing the wealth. We put in place methods to allow people like Dolly Weeks to compete to win a project. We put in place a mechanism that people who want to kill me and kill this government, like the Galloways, to win a project, they want it fair and square. We couldn't stop them because that is the process we put in place. Put that in place. And they are saying, the same person like Emil, who hiding to work on the sports center, hiding to work, goes down there after 6 at night so nobody can see him. He asks him to share the wealth, but he don't tell his colleagues he getting some of the wealth. And he has worked on the Little Bay Development Project as well. And then he goes out and says, I am a decent man. Reuben is corrupt and he's not sharing the wealth. He needs to share the wealth with his colleagues. When you look at somebody like Trixie paying rent for one of the buildings in Little Bay, paying rent for the past 2 months. And what he's saying, I don't want you all to look good, so I prefer to pay the rent and keep the place locked down so that the fisherman's village looks desolate. That is somebody who has your interest at heart. Let us look at the people from the other side. Check their performance in life. And one of the things that bothers me, I have never made a secret of the fact that in 1997, when I left, let me rephrase that, when I was fired by the Bertrand Husband administration, I went into construction. Alfonso Lee and Reuben Meade formed a company called L&M, duly registered. The lawyer who did the work for us was Warren Cassell. He was Cassell at the time. He helped us form that company. He did the memorandum and articles of association and the registration. In 2009, and we can fact check it, 2009, we made a decision, either 2008, 2009, when I got back into government, that I came out of that company and removed myself. And here it is, of all the companies in Montserrat, my neighbor, Bennett Roach, and the team have decided, let us publish all of the annual returns of that company. Publish the annual returns of Romeo 2. At least that was a successful company, and it still is. And we tender for everything that we did. And when I left, that company was profitable. When Don Romeo's father left him a business, is it profitable today? So if he can't run his own business, he wants to run Montserrat?
Imagine that.
But let us look at PDM, because PDM can in fact work. And let me tell you how PDM will work. Don is ruled by his forces, and one of his forces is Claude Hogan. Claude Hogan is the leader of the party, but he looked like one of the sheep as a wolf. So he seems as though he's following, pushing Claude, Don in front, and quietly whispering, I wonder if you think that me are going to allow Don to lead me anyway. So I want to ask you a question. Don and Dr. Lewis contested elections together. You remember that? When Dr. Lewis came back to join up with PDM, Don insisted that he was going to be leader. And because Dr. Lewis is a good doctor, and because he must have confidentiality, he simply said to himself, what I know about that man, he cannot lead me in a place he had no good. But Dr. Lewis can't say that because he can't talk about his patients. Who else is behind PDM? Do you want a leader that is ruled by the Burns and the Johnnies and the Celsius and other such people? Because they are the ones who are behind PDM. They are the ones who are behind PDM, along with the drug dealers. And when and if they happen to get into government, these are the people. And these, Don and the others, will be puppets to a set of people who control them now. Don is simply saying, and let me tell them to put up the red things. It's not me who tell them to put up this thing about Reuben, Meade and Salem. It's not me who tell them to do this. I can say to you, if MCAP is doing something and I disagree with it, could be followers, I don't care who it is, they will take them down. And if they don't take them down, I will get somebody to take them down. That is leadership. That is not being a dictator.
I agree.
Have you ever seen chickens leading the mother hen? You always see the mother hen in front and the chickens following. That is leadership. That is leadership. Did you listen? Did you listen to Don and his interview with Javon? Javon, give us a fact check on this interview. Are you done?
You are not a dictator.
When you have somebody who you expect to lead you, walking out on an interview, walking out, because he can't handle the pressure.
Too much about it.
I have a feeling that, let me stop it.
Right.
When I went in for my interview, despite advice from my colleagues, do not have a second interview with Javon, I simply said to him, I know you have more questions to ask. I will avail myself of another interview. I will come back to respond to any questions which you have. Any questions. And he did not have to tell me what we were going to discuss. When you look at the MCAP candidates, they do not go in there as puppets. They go in there by themselves. And they can handle anything thrown at them. When you have the PDM people, the puppets are behind saying, no, you can't say that. Say this. Here's the people. And when Shirley said that Don is the campaign leader and not the party leader, Don come back and say, oh, she made a mistake. The puppeteer making a mistake and the puppet answering the puppeteer. I want to ask you a few questions. Would you like to see hotel bills in Montreal? Yes. Would you like to see villas? Yes. You want to see the sports center? I hope all of you all go to the opening game. Yes. Opening game in December. Let us fill that sports center where our Montserrat team, and I tell them start practicing now. Because they allow me to reach semi-finals in a 3-point shootout last week Friday. And German, I beat German too. But German told me afterwards, you are the leader, we can't afford to let people see me beat you. Thanks, German. Do you want to see the hospital project? Yes. Not only a building, but the developments inside the hospital. The training of the nurses, the equipping of the hospital. Thank you very much. And additionally, if there are things which we can't handle in Montserrat, we have signed an MOU with Guadeloupe, something which Claude Hogan couldn't get done. I brought in an advisor, and in 2 weeks, the advisor had us in Guadeloupe signing an MOU. Can't fire him because he have a child he have to support, which he not fully supporting. Do you want to see geothermal development? Yes. Do you want to see cruise ships and tourists coming to Montreal? Yes. Do you want to see the medical school reopen? Yes. Do you want to see more housing? Yes. Do you want to see more training?
Yes.
Do you want to see more specialist medical procedures?
Yes.
And do you want to see MCAP serving the other 5 years?
Yes. 5 more years.
So therefore on Thursday, when you go to the polls,
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
next week Thursday, when you go to the polls, we expect that you will not come alone. If you want to see MCAP back in office, every one of you who are core MCAP supporters, walk with 5 other persons at least who will vote along with you. 10 if you can find the 10, but at least 5 other persons along with you who you have convinced that MCAP is a team for the future of Montserrat. MCAP being the team that will lead the dream of Montserrat, redeveloping into full prosperity that we can say to David. Thank you very much. You have been good to us, and therefore we are thankful. I want each and every one of you to recommit yourself to this dream of MCAP. This dream of MCAP. And on election day, don't say I'm coming later or Miss So-and-so gonna come. Make sure you carry them with you. And go early. And so that when Basil go to vote for Saga on the 12th, because Saga say voting, Basil say voting for Saga on the 12th, the day after the election. We will already be celebrating. So again, thank you very much for continuing to support us. I know that the rain is going to fall, but tomorrow night, that's not my job. The breeze will do that. The breeze will tell you St. Peter's tomorrow night at 7:30. That's his job. So drive home safely. May God continue to bless all of us, and may God continue to bless Montserrat. To God be the glory.